you guys get a lot of questions about, minutes. It's hard. Twitter's a hell of a coach.
What if I told you an NBA champion turned head coach, coaching a all-world generational talent, is being pressed by Mavs Twitter making suggestions on his lackluster starting lineups? That could never be me. Here in this video today, we go over Jason Kidd's comments and his reluctance to be flexible in making changes. So before I get into the whole Jason Kidd isms, the Jason Kidd remarks, his icks, he gives me the ick sometime. I just want to send a shout out to all the Mavs Nation, all the Mavs Twitter, all of the Mavs content creators out there, and just everyone that wants to see this team be successful and do amazing things. It's nice to know that everyone wants that. And so when it comes to making content, it's a lot easier because we all can relate to these emotions and what we're feeling and what's best for the team. So shout out to everybody. And let's go and get started. So Jason Kidd the other night stated something crazy. I know he's been alluding to it every now and then. I think last year he made a comment about Mavs Twitter. And I know Mark Cuban is jaded by Mavs Twitter. I don't know why. It's crazy. You would think we're such a horrible fan base, but we're not. Some of us could be, a little bit unaware of certain things, but we're not a bad fan base. If anything, we want the best for the team. But I just so happened to see the whole Jason Kidd comment where he said Mavs Twitter is a hell of a coach.
You got to play all 82. This is a different team than last year, and we're starting to, come together. We talked about we've been healthy. We talked about you guys get a lot of questions about, minutes. It's hard. Twitter's a hell of a coach.
Or Twitter is a hell of a coach. I guarantee you, if he would have just installed some of the ideas Mavs Twitter has had, including mine, including everyone's, right, we would be a lot more successful in the way the team and the season has gone this year. And I do think that there's something to it that he is very reluctant to be able to allow changes, to be flexible with those changes for whatever reason. I don't understand. I think going into the year, the idea of Christian Wood coming off the bench sounded great, but it's not great. You want to kind of simplify these things a little bit, right? I think he's overthinking it. If you simplify it, right? If you were to ask Luka, hey, we're about to play pickup, but you get to pick your first five. We don't get to pick in between that. You just pick your first five. I'm pretty sure his number one pick would be Christian Wood. And then if you had two captains and he had to be first captain, he would still pick Christian Wood. And the next player gone would probably be Spencer Dinwiddie for the second captain. And Luka would probably get Dorian Finney-Smith. And then the second captain would probably get Hardaway. And then he'll probably get Josh Green. And it goes on and on. And what you end up having is the lineup that I feel is best for the Mavericks. Luka, Josh Green, Dorian Finney-Smith, Christian Wood, and Kleba. I think that'd be the best lineup right now. So when he says Mavs Twitter is a hell of a coach, yeah, we are. I think we would be a lot more successful. I want Coach Kidd to be successful here. But when he's doing these things, saying these things that he's saying, it doesn't endear him into the Mavs community. And a lot of that community is going to be in the stands, and the fans that are in the stands are just like the fans on Twitter. There's not much of a difference for the most part. So when you're making comments like Mavs Twitter is a hell of a coach, or when you're asked about a specific player like Jaden Hardy that has quite a bit of potential, and you're not utilizing him, and you know we need a third ball handler, and you know he can go and get a bucket for you, and when they ask you about his minutes, you always allude to there's someone else you have to go talk to. You're the head coach, bro. You're the head coach. Professionally, you will say, I will find him minutes, or I will look to give him 10 minutes a night, or whatever. Not, well, hopefully we can find him minutes. Like, it's not that hard. You're not playing McGee much. You're lowering Bullock's minutes. Use those minutes that you leverage that off of and give it to Hardy. Some of these decisions are no-brainers decisions. A lot of these decisions, if there was some kind of simplicity applied to it, where it's not overthinking, it's not over-processed thought, I think the Mavericks will be in better shape. Yes, we don't have the flexibility with the roster to be able to go make changes. What assets do we really have that we want to give up right now? Do we want to give up a Jaden Hardy, a Josh Green? And if you are, what are you going to get back for that? And who else do you have to trade to leverage out contracts to be able to match a certain player that you want to get? There's potential there, but do you want to give that up? And if you look at it, you got a Josh Green that's 22, a Jaden Hardy that's 20, and a Luka that's 23. This could be your core if you just went ahead and try to figure it out. So whenever he says Mavs Twitter is a hell of a coach, I tend to feel it's a little bit of insecurity, because you don't have to go in that regard in a post-game show after you won a game. Like, that was the, why are you thinking of Mavs Twitter a hell of a coach? That means we struck a nerve. And I know there's been podcasts like the Mavs Outsiders, Glow Yard Gang, We Talk Mavs, the DDP, Big Game James, I know Eni. We all kind of share the same perspective in how the roster should be. Christian Wood should never be getting less than 25 minutes a game. Josh Green should be getting over 25 minutes a game. Christian Wood should at least get 30 a game. 32 preferably. Josh Green 28 to 30 preferably. So whenever he says these things, I think he sees it. I think he understands that these plays and these suggestions make the most sense, but I think because he is a player's coach, I think because he wants to see his vision come through, now he's in that point of being jaded by his own perspective and his own expertise, because there's people out here that could probably share the same level of expertise, share the same level of, what works. And we're not talking analytics all the time. A lot of this stuff is you want to have players that have multi-dimensional abilities. The current, starting lineup that you have is Luka, Tim Hardaway, Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, and Powell. Only one player outside of Luka in that lineup has multi-dimensional capabilities, and that's Spencer Dinwiddie. Spencer Dinwiddie could go get you a layup, a left-handed layup, a dunk, a three-pointer, an assist, a steal. What does Tim Hardaway get you? A 3? And that's streaky at best. What does Dorian Finney-Smith get you? He's multi-dimensional. He give you some defense, probably our best defender, and he could hit a 3 at a decent rate, decent clip, and probably go get a dunk. I wished he'd add like a floater or a midi to his game, but he doesn't have that. Powell. Don't even get me started. Rim runner. And I don't even want to say a decent shot blocker, a decent anything else. It's just a rim runner and effort guy, right? But if you were to start Luka Doncic, Josh Green, Dorian Finney-Smith, Christian Wood, and Maxi Kleber, each one of those players have over at least 3 to 4 capabilities to their game, not one-dimensional. And I think that's what helps Luka the most. When you paired him up with Jalen Brunson, he had multi-dimensional capabilities. So you need to have a team that has multi-dimensional capabilities that can help Luka. And I think he's Jason Kidd is just in this place where I don't know if it's complacency. I don't know it's a level of ineptitude when it comes to his coaching capabilities, or just overall maybe we've overhyped Jason Kidd. Because I feel like I have. I was happy with his hire. And right now I'm not that happy when you see Mosley, for the head coach for Orlando, trying different things. Like, that's cool to see. when you see these other younger coaches implementing newer things, unfortunately, Ime Udoka is no longer a head coach right now, but first year head coach took him to the NBA Finals. Kid could have that if he just simplified the game. Simplify it. But yeah, man, I just wanted to come in here and rant about that because I know I've shot a lot of Cowboys videos back in the day, and I know this is off topic, but when I used to shoot those videos, it was really because I wanted to give my opinion. And I felt like in that, Cowboys content creator space, the opinion of being unbiased wasn't necessarily a thing when I was watching it and when I was, out there giving my opinion. But I couldn't give you X's and O's. I couldn't talk to you about the sport like as if I played it my entire life. And I think with basketball, it kind of translates a little bit because if you play it anywhere, you know a little bit about basketball. And I played it all my life. I'm a hooper at heart. Basketball is my first drug, my first love, all of that. And so when I talk about it, I'm literally looking at it from a hooper's perspective, and then also just by watching the NBA my entire life, I'm looking at it from that perspective as well. And I'm looking at it from roster building and what helps teams and what type of team has been successful in the past and in the current. And so whenever I give my perspective on the Dallas Mavericks, it's because I want them to win. It's not because I'm just up here to just talk about it because I want to give a different perspective. No. Talking about the Mavericks is a passion of mine. It's a little bit different than when I talked about the Cowboys. Like, I would love to see the Cowboys go and win a Super Bowl. I would love to see Dak be consistent and play consistently like a top 10 quarterback, not consistently inconsistent or not consistently gets down and then has to drag them back in the second half. I want to see Dak be successful to start the game to the finish like he did against Minnesota. Off tangent. But with the Mavericks, I think right now because you're such in a difficult place from a roster construction and a salary situation, your head coach is your next best bet. And is your head coach getting the most out of this team? Absolutely not. Why? I don't know. Whatever it is, get over it. Let's get the winning. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. If y'all are tired of his icks when he says, we'll see if we could hopefully get a minute. Or this is Mavs Twitter is a hell of a coach. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. What y'all think it is affecting Jason Kidd. And if he could turn it around. And if he can turn it around, how far can we get? Let me know what y'all think. Been your boy TGK. Catch y'all on the next one.